What is up, everybody? You know, I always start these shows off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Tonight is a special episode with one of the sponsors, and that is who we are going to talk about right now. Guys, I have told you, for all of you out there that are looking for a simpler way to do business, the days of pen and paper are over with. That's like still advertising in the phone book, all right? It's 2024. But it's also about value, what you get for your money. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no better CRM on the market than Housecall Pro for what they do, what they're constantly adding. They add stuff so much that it is crazy. I've always told you guys about how I felt, and Housecall Pro has done nothing but prove me wrong. We use Housecall Pro at Beltway, so I'm not telling you guys to use something that I don't use myself. The best bang for the buck. Housecall Pro can do everything you need it to do, from an office standpoint to a technician standpoint. And then some of the add-ons that you can incorporate with it is the best option. There's a reason that it says work simpler, grow smarter. If you are looking to upgrade your CRM, you're looking to make a switch, go down in the show notes and check out the link that I have. And then there's a special in there for you. It's a surprise, but I promise it's a special offer. Plus, you get a free 14-day trial. All right. And we're going to talk about this tonight with none other than the co-founder. So let's get on with this show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, not a Wednesday, a Tuesday, a special episode for you. Don't worry, I'll be here tomorrow night as well. But we have a great show for you tonight. You guys know how I feel about Housecall Pro. I've talked about them every week. I was elated when the sponsorship happened because it's something that I use on a day-to-day basis. And I wanted to get somebody on here, and there's nobody better to get on here than my guest tonight. So without further ado, I hope everybody's doing great, having a great week. Hope you guys like the new merch that's out. I'll be giving away at AHR, but we can talk about that later. Let's get right into this show. Guys, please put your hands together and help me welcome CEO and co-founder of Housecall Pro, Mr. Roland Leitenberg.
What's going on? How's everybody?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time to be on here with me, Roland.
Yeah, no problem, Gil. It's great. It's been a little while since I've been on here, but always glad to come back and share and talk to your audience.
Yeah, no, this is awesome, especially everything that you guys have added. So I guess if people, I don't know, been living under a rock for a little bit, let them know a little bit about you and how long it's been since you created, Housecall Pro and this has been around.
Yeah, sure. So we started Housecall Pro back in 2013. So it's just it's been a decade. We launched Housecall Pro back in 2015, and so we've been in market for a little bit, and it's been a pretty wild ride. It started with 5 co-founders, and now we've got thousands of employees, and we got 40,000 or so customers, and hundreds of thousands of technicians using.
Oh no! You still there, Roland?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze for a second, but I heard what you were saying. I'm glad you were good because saying connection good, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
we're good. If something happens and it pops out, you can hop back in. It's no worries. It'll people listening to the audio will never know the difference. But one thing that I really love that you do, Roland, is in the Facebook group how you do your lives and you make yourself accessible. Like we were talking about off air, I respect a lot of these other people from these different softwares. A lot of them I know personally, but the fact that you are the co-founder of Housecall Pro, and then people can have these little, hey, I'm talking to the guy who makes things happen about, I would love to see this or what's going on with that, and that you answer them directly. Like, let's just most CEOs aren't doing that. They're not doing that when it comes to their company. So I think that's really awesome that you make yourself available and that people can, address you like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, luckily, I'm just a co-founder, and we have a big-time CEO now, so I get to spend some more time talking to our customers. But the biggest thing that we've done, and kind of the way we've been successful, is making sure, in order to champion all of our pros, which is our mission, right, champion them all to success, is we have to listen to feedback. Good, positive, neutral, all the feedback. So the biggest thing is, just like all of our pros out in the field, you got to talk to your customers, your homeowners, and give them what they want. You got to be receptive to that feedback. So for us, community is a really big part of what Housecall Pro has to offer. We've got a Facebook group that is filled with, I don't even know how many people we have in the Facebook group now. It's rather large. They all use Housecall Pro. And so for me and my team to be able to engage in there is super important, because that's how we get better.
Well, apparently people like your merch too, because my friend Outlaw said, first he said he loves Housecall Pro, and then he said, how can I get a Housecall Pro hat? I might actually still have some, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we did some limited runs. It's funny because I was just actually at the Embroider, just making some new stuff, because we've got an event coming up here, the Conquer Summit. It's like mid-Jan here, so I'll be there for that. And I didn't have any merch. Like, I've got my old school stuff, but I wanted a refresh. So we got some more fun stuff coming. But yeah, have them reach out to me. We often give away merch too, by the way. We do this often where, in our community, if someone asks a question and one of our other pros knows the answer, they answer and they're super helpful. Oftentimes we'll be like, hey, thanks for helping out another pro and giving some really good tips, because often those tips are way better than anything you could get if you went to our blue chat bubble, right, which is our support team, because you're getting it from a pro who's doing it live in the field every day. And sometimes those advanced workflows or tips that they give, those are gold. So if he's in the Facebook group and you see someone asking a question from time to time, I've got my team in there. I think they've got $1,000 a month budget to give out merch and swag to people that are being helpful in the group.
I'm in the group. I'm definitely gonna be helping somebody so I can get some new merch.
There you go.
But yeah, and it's funny because that group is awesome, and I know that we've asked tons of questions inside of there and gotten some amazing answers on how to do things, especially when new features have rolling out, which you guys have had tons of features roll out in the last, I don't even know how long. And sometimes you don't fully understand. I think you guys do a good breakdown, the little tutorial things that pop up that kind of give you, a little bit. But when you go there and ask questions and people are able to like, oh, if you do this, this, and this, you can do this and that. And it's awesome to have people to be able to do that, because it really does help explain things and actually utilize what these add-ons are that you may not understand.
Totally. And I feel like, we're releasing so many things so quickly. Oftentimes you might just miss out, or you don't necessarily see that it's popped up, right? Or maybe you missed the Whiteboard Wednesday. So every Wednesday at 11, we go live and we cover some of the new stuff that we launch. So if you're in there, you'll see other people sharing other cool stuff for some of the new stuff we've been building, which is just a ton. We've been just on a tear, especially this last year. I was just looking at all the features and stuff that we launched in 23. And it's just, there's so many things that we have built just within this last year that sometimes it's hard to keep up with. But if you're in the group, you're really going to stay kind of, in that pole position to be able to know like what's coming out and when, and then our super pros as well, which is our kind of our elite group of super pros that are in there. They get advanced and early access, alphas, betas. They get to give our like feedback into how those features are being built. So yeah, community is definitely a huge part of what we do, who we are, and how we build the things that we need, because we're not in the field day to day. The only thing we know how to build is software, and we just need to hear from our customers like, hey, I wish I could do X, or I wish I could do Y. We can't build all the things, not right away, not all at once. I wish I could snap my fingers and stuff would just happen. But those things get put on the roadmap and we build them.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, I could go over a bunch of things that I love, but one thing that I have absolutely loved, if I had to pick one that I love the most, is Pipeline. Um,
Mhm.
So with the automation that's built into it, and then we were actually able to do some other AI off of it, to where like if there's any kind of problem call, it automatically, emails me and Ryan, who is the owner. I'm the general manager, but he's the owner. It automatically lets us know, hey, these calls need to be addressed. But I love how it just goes from slot to slot automatically. Like that was literally a game changer, and it also makes it so that you don't miss something. If everything is
Right.
done properly, it automatically goes to where it's supposed to be. Like we need to go back, needs to be rescheduled. It needs to, this is done, invoice and billed or whatever it is. It goes exactly where it needs to go, and that's awesome. And when that's one of the things, like I said, when it first came out, I didn't realize the power of it until some people were like, oh man, you're not even scratching the surface yet, Gil. Like you can do this, and this, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting all giddy because it was that's how I love pipeline.
Yeah, that's great. I think Pipeline's about a year old now or so. It's like it's been probably like a full year. But yeah, there's two main benefits that one gives you. One is what we call the Kanban board. It pretty much is like a whiteboard, but digital, right? So you can move things from left to right. So it's super easy to visualize and see things. But then in between those are these automated steps and automated emails and automated text to move things from left to right. And so those two things combined pay for that feature in like I mean, just so quickly, right? Because depending on the plan type, it could be anywhere from like 50 to $100 a month. And you close one job off of that, you pay for the entire year. So it's that one's definitely, like you said, that one's a no brainer. If you haven't tried it, or if you're somebody that's not using software and you have a hard time, like trying to remember all the estimates you've given out and you're just not following up on them, like this thing will do it for you automatically. So just give yourself some time back and automate some of those things that you can take. I don't know. Just put it in there. Just use it.
Yeah, well, take it off your plate. And to be honest, nowadays in 2024, if you're not using some kind of automation, you're making work harder for yourself. Let's just be honest. Don't fight that technology because it's here to make your job easier and make you more efficient. I came from the field as a tech. I was a fix-it guy and worked my way up into management. I didn't know shit about management or software. I have had to learn it. And if I can learn it, anybody can learn it because I'm, I taught myself how to do this stuff. So it's pretty awesome. I and what you said about the add-ons. So I will tell everybody listening this. If you take the max package, add on everything that you can add on that Housecall Pro offers, and then even some of the third party add-ons that you can add on, like one of my other ones, which is CompanyCam, which we add on to you
Yeah.
guys, which I think is amazing. I love them. I'm still spending a fraction of the price that I would other places, and that's the truth.
Yeah, that's been part of our strategy. We know that for people to switch and change their behavior, you either have to be 10 times better or 10 times more affordable, or some combination of the two. And so when we really look out in the market out there, there's other software out there, but we know if we price reasonable and affordable, our goal is to make sure that every company between $0 to $10 million a year revenue is using us. And that's 95% of all businesses in the United States. And we still have some much bigger companies using us as well. That's mostly because those companies, the owners, they want to have that second vacation house or the third vacation house, and the savings of the software costs, help pays for that. But if I go back and I play like the ticker tape at 23, like man, so many features we released. On estimates now, we've got templates built in. We've got like multi-option approvals on there. We did a whole bunch of work around job costing, like actual and expected job costing. So that's like your billable hour rates, like what you're expected. We have like material inventory detail reporting. So, every week, if you want, you can print out all the material that you used across all your products or all the things you've sold. So, you know what products to order. Other big ones, we introduced payroll. So, we're really trying to be that all in one kind of a place. So, if you're looking to pay your people, we do the payroll. If you want to buy health insurance through us, you can do that. If you want 401k through us, you can do that too. And they all tie nicely together. So our timesheets then goes into that payroll piece. And so we're working on just, hitting all parts of what a pro needs to do that they don't really want to do. No one wants to sit there on a Friday night when their kid's playing basketball and you're there trying to like bang out payroll to click the submit button, because if you don't do it, then nobody's getting paid on Monday. No one's showing up on Monday too, by the way.
Yeah, or those little features that you normally be paying extra for, another monthly fee or yearly fee. And one of the other ones that we love is the after hours, the phone service.
Yeah. Yep. House Call Pro Assist. Yep.
Yeah, they literally answer the phone call for us. And I mean, we've changed our hours around, but our poor girls in the office, like they get murdered. Like these calls that come in, and sometimes I want them to have a break. House Call Pro Assist takes it, puts it, they book the call, they put it on the calendar, they give us all the information, and then our girls can take it from there. And it seems like something so small, but they've loved every second of it. It takes load off of them that when they're home with their families, they can be with their families. And it's just like, oh, okay,
Right.
I got to put this on so-and-so, the person that's got to go on. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, House Call Pro Assist is great because the reality is no one's going to answer the phone better than you and your own office people, right? Like that's a full-time employee, but the cost is a full-time employee, and those employees get burned out. And you really, really want them to be, on the game most of the week. And if you can give them a little break, look, it's a lot better to have a human answering your phone after hours, because what's going to end up happening is if you don't, that person who's calling is going to leave a voicemail with 5 other people. And then guess what? If you don't open your doors at like 7 a.m., someone else is going to go call them. And you're just going to lose that revenue. So rather than lose that revenue, are they going to be able to answer that call as good as your office people? No. That's why you pay your office people, because they say everything exactly perfectly the way you want it. But after hours, capture them. Use House Call Pro Assist. Like you said, for you, take that load off of them so they can just like be able to disconnect and not be able to carry that company phone with them all the time, which gets wearing, on them, and then they get tired, for sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely gets to be a lot. And another thing I love too about the reports that you said is, and I will never talk bad about other software. But some of the other softwares, and even from when I work somewhere else, is when I would print out some of these reports, they wouldn't be accurate. But all of the reports that thus far, I mean, I'll be fair, all the reports that I printed out thus far from House Call Pro, in the beginning, I would go back and manually check just to make sure, because of horror stories that I've heard with other CRMs. And it's correct. It's the, now I don't have to worry about it. Just print it. Okay. Like you just said. And I know there's a lot of other ones out there that maybe the idea of this report is correct, but if you give me the wrong information, now I could possibly make the wrong business decision, which could really affect, a lot of people in a negative way.
That's right. Yeah. And so I think, before, I'd say maybe a year and a half ago or so before, I'd say our reporting needed a lot of love. And so in the last year and a half, we put a lot of power and horsepower into our new reporting. So a lot of folks, you can see our old reporting still if you go to the dash, and if you're still in the old dash mode, you can get to the old reports. But if you go to the new reports, which is on the top bar there, you hit reports, like you can slice and dice that data in so many different ways. And what's new last year is we built it so you can build it as a template that you can email to yourself daily, weekly. You can email it to different folks of your team. So they can just open up their email in the morning and they get access to that, even if they aren't in front of a computer. So there's like really neat things like that are small things, but they add up to be like a lot. And if you can start building those in your process, I feel like more pros should definitely take advantage of them. And then for other folks that are out there like, oh yeah, I saw House Call Pro like a year ago or a year and a half or 2 years ago and it didn't quite have those reports, you need to go take another look, because we've built out that entire piece. It's really good. You can custom configure it. Remember, as long as you're doing good data in, you're going to get good data out. So if you're not putting in job fields, if you're not putting in business units, right, go set those things up first and then make sure that, your people in the office and your techs are filling those out. If you do that, you can slice and dice the data any way you want. So make sure, like, to get good data out, you got to get good data in. And that's a part of building a business, right? Is building a process around there, making sure people are entering the information in correctly. But if you do that, you'll be set.
Yeah. Plus, and think about it. And I'm no business coach, but you have to plan you have a meeting and you're forecasting what you're going to do this month, and then we check the numbers on a daily basis. So say I want to do $1 million in a month. If I check that data on a daily, I can know, okay, hey, we are set to meet our goal. Or, hey, we need to make some changes because we're way off. We're not going to meet the mark. It's not something that you can guess with. And it gives you that information at your fingertips. If you're not checking it and you're just, oh, I think it was a good day. I always say, people lie, numbers don't, So the numbers will tell you the truth. They'll tell you if you're making money, if you had a profitable day, all that kind of stuff. And you need to be checking that as much as possibly. Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I wait till the P&L comes out at the end of the month. Well, I check the numbers every day, so I know what
Yeah.
the P&L is going to look like,
That's right. It's not a surprise. Yeah, it's not a surprise. You never want it to be a surprise.
Yeah, no. And then people are like, oh my God, we lost money. Well, you should have known that before the P&L came out or something. So very
That's
good and
right.
awesome.
Yeah, if you're not using the employee leaderboards, a lot of really successful pros, they've got a couple screens in the break room, lunchroom, sometimes in that front office piece, and they just have the employee leaderboard up on the screen. Inside of Chrome, those new smart TVs, you can pop open Chrome, just drop that URL right in there, maximize it. So it's like, the size of the entire screen, and then just have that thing auto refresh. And then you've got that data live, within minutes. People are flagging stuff. You see close rate, sales closed, booked, like all those kind of components. You can actually build into that now. If you're using our VoIP service, which is also new, we launched that really kind of like last year. You're able to do all the call recording, the transcription, like all the call booking stuff inside of Housecall Pro. And the beauty of that is you've got one phone number that the customer has. And even if the technician calls, it's calling through that phone number. So if, for whatever reason that technician decides to go somewhere else, well, the phone number that's saved in the customer's phone is your own. Right. And so if you're using our VoIP product, you can have that introduces a lot more cool stuff into the reporting. So you can see like the full flow, call booking rates, by lead source. You can set up as many call tracking numbers as you want. So if you're spending money anywhere, drop those call tracking numbers into there so you can track by source. So all those things are there now. And those are things we didn't have really in the last year and a half. And now we do. So I definitely would recommend people go checking that out.
Yeah, no, we use it, and it's great when the guys go. So how it works if you guys don't use it is, our technicians go, they'll hit on my way, and then they'll call the customer, and when they do it, their phone, all of a sudden it'll start ringing, and then it calls the customer. But when it calls, it comes from our office, and when they call back, that way our technicians, their numbers aren't out in the ether, because a lot of them, they don't want to carry 5 cell phones. So a lot of times we'll just give them money for their cell phone. But that way the customer's not calling their number directly, and we can filter all of that through the office. We had to get better. One thing that we had a problem with is, when installs would happen, the amount for that install was getting attached to the installer and not necessarily the person who sold it. So that was us. We had to go switch some things around because that leaderboard wasn't working. Because,
Right.
our lead installer, it was showing that he did a couple $1 million. And I'm like, he don't sell anything. What are we talking about? Like, that's not working.
Yeah.
But that was our fault because we were inputting wrong. So we weren't giving it the proper data. So it wasn't giving us the right stuff back. That was on us.
Yeah. So we have like a field that's a sold by field, which you can apply in a line by line item. So, sometimes you'll have a service tech that's also a selling tech. And so they might get dispatched out of job. So they don't get money for like the dispatch fee or the blower motor, but they'll get whatever else extra they sell on top of that. So you can do sold by on a line item level if you set that up. You can also tag each individual job by a person's name if you want to do it that way. So sometimes if you want to sort it by your installers, you can do that. Versus your comfort advisors, if you're in the HVAC place in the space, you can do that. So yeah, if you set it up correctly, you can slice and dice all the numbers. And sometimes what you'll find is, dig a little bit. If you feel like you can't get the data you need, just post to our Facebook group or tag me. and then James Nichols is the product manager in charge of reporting. He works with a lot of different pros to make sure their stuff is set up correctly. We can get the data. Data's in Housecall Pro. We'll make sure you're entering the right kind of either tags or whatever pivot that you need. And you'll be able to pull everything you need straight out of Housecall Pro without doing a whole bunch of Excel work.
Yeah, and that's what, and I think that we love Excel, so we still use it, but we have found that we don't have to use it as much,
Yep.
because of the reporting and stuff like that. And like I said before, those numbers we need to know, and even if it's when it gets tagged, where the call came from. Is it a Google lead? Is it from Facebook? Is it from TikTok? Like, I can literally print that stuff off, so I know when we have to have a budget meeting. Oh, okay, so this month we're going to spend $20,000 on marketing. Okay, well, this is working for us last month and this didn't, so now we move it around. If I don't have that data, I can't make the proper educated guess to be able to do what's best for the company. So that's why that stuff is so important. And also from the technician side, I know. See, I don't see the technician side that often. I know one. Can the guys see their numbers on their side? Like,
Yeah. So inside of the app, the first screen that loads up is like the dashboard. And then that one's tailored to that individual's viewing capability, whatever permissions you assign that role. So you can see components of that. The best way to really have like a leaderboard style thing to see all of the things so they can see how they stack up against their peers, right, is to build out that employee leaderboard inside of the Housecall Pro dash, right, that reporting feature, and save it as a dash. But they'll be able to see some of the components within their app. I'd say the Housecall Pro app is really built for the people out in the field to go execute on the jobs. And then the web portal is really built for like the management component of it when you need to have a lot of screen real estate. There's like a lot of different stuff going on, because the idea is you don't want to get the technician get too confused with like a million different buttons and things that they could click and configure and filter and da. You really just want them to see, here's your call. This is what you got to go do. If you got to add some stuff to it from the price book, you can, right? Because it's all uploaded into your price book already. And then just add those pieces in there. If you do call by call management, you can ask whoever your operations manager is to make sure you can add those things, or those parts are in stock or in the warehouse or on the truck. And then you can kind of go from there. So you can configure it to do call by call, so they can only see one call, or you can say just the calls for the day, or you can just say, look, you can see all of the things. And then if you really want to make them more of a GM, or not maybe a GM, but like a lead guy, they can see everybody's work, right? And so depending on who's working on what, you might not want them seeing other people's calls, because they might start complaining like, hey, why does Gil get to go to the fancy neighborhood, and why am I getting like sent off into the boonies? Like, of course the numbers are better. But yeah, you can totally configure all those things inside of Housecall Pro, however your management style is, right? Now, however big your company might be, if it's full transparent model mode, or if it's more like, keep the horse on the racetrack and put blinders on him so it doesn't get distracted by the horses running on the left and the right.
Yeah, that's kind of how we are. I mean, they only see their stuff, or unless a guy is going to be on a call with them, and then we go over the numbers with everybody. So I have meetings and go over, so that way it's kind of that friendly competition kind of deal.
Yep.
But when it comes to just on a day-to-day basis, I want them to focus on what they have. It just seems to work for us, but I know some people do it different. And I know we probably should switch to the call by call management, but what we're doing, giving the right person the right call, seems to be working right now.
Yeah. Look, it's one of those things where, once you hit a particular level, if it's working, make micro adjustments. You don't have to like scrap everything, and then like start all over and like try something, because at the end of the day, the hardest thing of any business is actually the people side of the business. And you want to keep your people happy. And if you make a major switch, you have to get so much buy-in, and then you're going to get unhappy people, and they're going to want to go back to the way that it was. And the new people that joined don't know how it was, and they're afraid to go to that one. And so that, like, the people side of the business is actually the most difficult part. So my advice there is like, make micro tweaks and get better for sure every day. Keep doing that, try to get better. But, do you really need to do a full overhaul? And then the other thing I advise a lot of companies too is like, look, most of the companies that we work with, and most of the companies in the US, are going to stay $10 million and under. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those are amazing businesses. Like, oh my God, you're in the top 0.1%, of earners if you're an owner, or if you're tech that might one day become an owner, you're listening to the show. Like those are amazing numbers. So, you don't have to go all crazy. No, look, I think having big ambitions is really nice. And maybe you do want to shoot for that $20-25 million a year business, or even larger, right? There's a handful of those that are doing 50 to 100 million plus. But the reality is in any county, in any city in the US, you can easily build a single digit, multi-million dollar a year HVAC business, no problem. Especially if you're using technology and automation, you can crush most of the competition, whatever your area is. Which is funny to say because we've been doing this now for, Housecall Pro's been out for 2015, and there's still people that are doing pen and paper. Majority of our customers coming to us are still coming from it's like pen and paper, or maybe it's like they'll use like Square and Google Sheets and QuickBooks and MailChimp or something, and they use like all these different programs. But that's still a majority of the customers that are coming to us, and they're growing, and they're growing with us. So, yeah.
It's crazy when you say that. Like you think 2024, you're like, oh, there can't be that many people still pen and paper, but there's a lot more than you think. And when I talk to people and they say that, I'm waiting for the ha 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 afterwards. And when I realize they're not, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's really doing paper tickets. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, dude, stop doing that. So a bunch of you in the chat are asking about the cost of this. One, Mr. Nathan Christensen, what's up, buddy? If you want to talk to your owner about doing this, he doesn't need to talk to anybody in particular. Go use my link in the show notes, and that'll say that he came directly from me, and whoever you get will take care of you. That's literally all he has to do. As far as price, I will say this: we have 20 plus employees at Beltway. For what we pay a month here would cover 4 employees, maybe 5 on one of the other ones. And that's not me exaggerating. That is actually what it is. So it might break down to be like 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. I don't know exactly. I don't pay the bills. I just make sure we make money to pay them. But I know it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. So click my link and go check it out. You get a free 14-day trial. They're not going to beat you up and take your credit card. Ask questions. They'll be able to answer everything that you can. That's what they do. So rather than you ask me, click the link in the show notes and they'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, and I'll just say from like a pricing, if people are curious, like we're transparent about it. If you go to housecallpro.com/pricing, you can see the pricing. And the way that I like talking about it too is, if you're just getting started, you're less than 5 people, you're paying less than your cable bill, right? Or less than what you pay Verizon for your own personal cell phone. So that's that kind of level costing. If you start growing your company to something that Gil has too, you're maybe spending $1,000 a month, but less, even if you add on all the add-ons. But that's if you get to that kind of a size. Gil's got a big company, and so that's there. But that's still like a quarter to a fifth of what you'd see with some of the other bigger vendors that are out there. And so the other thing I would just caution people too is like, look, this is software. You don't need to sign contracts for this, right? Which means with Housecall Pro, you can just pay month to month. There's no contract. If you want to pay a year up front, we'll give you a little bit of a discount. Still no contract. And you can come and leave as you go. We're not going to hold your data hostage. You can export it, you can import it, you can do whatever you want. And that forces us to stay honest. And that's why, our business model only works if you stay with us for 5 years, right? Or more. So our goal is to make sure that you're getting the value out of the software. So if you're worried about price, think about the benefits that you're going to get. Think about all the time you're losing by not using it. And I'm just tell you, we're growing really fast. We've done really well by being the most affordable software on the market. And when people say it's the best bang for your buck, it truly is. And types of businesses that we serve, that $0 to $10 million a year business, like that's our bread and butter, and that's 95% of all of HVAC, definitely in the United States, and that's what we optimize for.
Yeah. So, and I have the pricing pulled up. So just so you know, it says basic for one user, $49 a month. The essentials, 1 to 5 users, $129 per month, and 1 to 100. Obviously, you contact them and book a demo, which is what we've done. Guys, I can tell you right now that's crazy. That's crazy cheap for all the stuff that they offer. And a lot of you have been in here before, and I've said this to Roland. Guys, I used to be Housecall Pro's biggest critic. Um, because I thought you needed all this stuff to be able to grow. And all Housecall Pro has done is prove me wrong. um, but adding features and the things that you can do, things that you could do that it was my fault that I didn't educate myself to be able to know how to use the reporting and stuff like that. And I'm glad that I saw the light because we've saved a buttload of money that we can now put into culture. Or if you guys see us on social media with Beltway and you see us have company fun days where we go karting or top golf and everybody's paid that day while we're doing that, well, that's because we don't have to spend an extra couple of $1,000s on something that we don't need. We try to be efficient and save money on different aspects. And that's how I feel when it comes to Housecall Pro, which is why I told you guys why I was so passionate about this sponsorship, because it's something that I use on a day-to-day basis. Everything that I am affiliated with, I use right now. Or their products that I use. So that way, when I offer to you guys, it's not like, hey, this sounds good. You should try it. It's a, and even looking at this, going over it where it says the features, it's huge, especially when you click on all features and it's a whole page. It's like going through all this. One thing I think that's cool that, I don't know if all the other guys do it, and I forget what it's called. Like places like CompanyCam, how you let different places like that what is it called? API? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah. I can talk about that a little bit. So, we've got some companies that we have like a direct integration with. So, CompanyCam's a great partner, and they've integrated with us to make things easy. And that's really, because if you're doing tons of photos, videos, walkthroughs, annotations, a lot of those things, it's great for that. But what that's built on is what's called as our API. And so, if you wanted to link it up with some other software, and you're like, oh, I wish these two things could talk, we allow you to do that. So you'll probably be like, well, I don't know what an API is. I'm not a developer. I don't know how to code. I promise you, whoever you're working with, if you send them to our docs, which is docs@housecallpro.com, they can be like, oh, okay, I know how to connect the two. And the benefit there is like, look, you can only win if you really do this hub and spoke model, which means you've got the core thing you use all day, every day, which is your operating system, for lack of a better word. And then everything else should kind of tie into it. So that way you don't have to do data entry. Data entry is like the worst kind of thing to have folks on your team do. And so, yeah, we have an open API for that reason. That's on our max plan. We have Zapier. So if you ever played around with Zapier, and if you're somewhat technical and you want to like connect some stuff, there's that tool. And then we just have a suite of different softwares that we do integrate with. And those are direct connections they've already built because we've got a lot of mutual customers already. So yeah, those things are important. And if you're looking around at software, if they don't have that, it's bad because they're trying to either lock you in or they're not technical enough to build it and expose it out there, because it does take resources to do that and keep it up to date. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that for sure.
And I think it's awesome that you guys do that, because some of these companies have their little niches and they're really good at it. And that with what you guys are really good at makes it awesome for the user. Some of these other ones, they're like, no, we have a form of that. It's like, yeah, you have it, but it's not that good. Like, why can't I use this with your software? And they don't let you. I mean, I'm like, okay. Because two of the add-ons that I love for you guys is obviously CompanyCam, which is one of my sponsors. And then on-call air, I think is amazing as well, as far as building your estimates and be able to send them with professional pictures and stuff like that. Really, really, really awesome. And even with those add-ons that you pay for, still saving a couple of grand a month versus what the other options would be. Somebody has a question. Outlaw says, haven't added one yet, but when you add a checks box, does it turn into a fill in the box on each job? So it depends on how you add it. So we have a checklist that we put on every single call. That call cannot be finished until those boxes are checked. Granted, we only put check boxes, not something they have to fill in, because I want to make sure that they're doing these little things like offered a service contract, like little dumb things, but they have to click that before they can finish the call. And I love that. So you can add it in different ways. Oh yeah, somebody asked. So my dream. So you guys, and then one of my other favorite sponsors is Bluon. So if you guys could mix, that would be like Christmas for HVAC.
What would you like from Bluon? Let's imagine let's imagine House Call Pro and Bluon could have like a baby and it lives inside a House Call Pro. Like, what are the things of Bluon that you love? Is it the parts lookup? Is it the product catalog kind of components? What is it specifically that you really want access to? Because they've got a lot of great data.
Yeah. So being able to, if I'm in there and I offer a customer a part and I'm already inside of it, to be able to click and be like, oh, I this motor, I can get this, now I can get this delivered, it's in stock. I can get it delivered to me. I can get it dropped off while I'm taking this one apart. Um, I just think that helps make it seamlessly when it comes to truck stock. My guys already use Bluon, but if that so what they'll do is they'll go and put everything in a cart at the end of the day. They click it, and then the following morning, as long as I think it's before 2 o'clock is the cutoff. Our local supplier brings over truck stock on a daily basis, so the guys are constantly getting what they use. Something like that's built in just saves, because let's be honest, I don't want guys in supply houses. When they're in supply houses bullshitting around talking, nobody's making money. Customers aren't getting served. So just those kind of little things. And then even if the guy is inside of a call, and I don't know if it's like this on some of the other ones, but even if they were able to, in the middle of a call, and just click it and be able to contact, tech support, all inside of the same app. So I think that all is amazing. Oh, I got a model number. Let me boop. And they don't have. They're inside that one app, and they don't have to leave.
That's right. Yeah, no, they've got a lot of great tools, free resources, and they're working on some really neat stuff. And you may or may not see some things here in the future, but great guys over there, and really cool tool for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look, the more time, the thing that you really said that jumped out to me is like, the more time your people are out in the field, either fixing stuff or talking to customers, good. Anything other than that, bad. So like, how can you eliminate that? Right. That includes even like dinking around in the office, right? And just in windshield time. And so if you're not dispatching correctly, you're not sending people to the right places, knowing where they're going. Those are just like basics. Those are like, come on, man, you got to get those going.
Yeah, my guys know when they come in, it's like, what do you need? Why are you here? Like, let's well, you got to pick something up. There you go. Have a good day. So
let's go. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because sadly, time is money. I want to see if anybody. Somebody said the software we use sucks. Okay, well, go check out the link down below so you can use a software that doesn't suck. If you got to ask, you can't afford it. Sorry. Remember, if you have questions, please try to put them in all caps. It just makes it easier for me to be able to see it. I think that I've answered all the questions. And don't worry, C Young. My playoff tickets are paid for. And when the Ravens go to the Super Bowl, I will be there. To answer your question real fast. So another thing that I love, when you guys have these features and they come to fruition, is it kind of like listening to customers at the same time having like a group that's what they do? Like, hey, we've gotten these ideas. How can we make this happen?
Yeah.
Or
Okay. That's a great question. So a lot of people are like, oh, Roland, like everyone's talking about pro votes. Like, how does pro votes work? Like, how do you build things? And so for us, we take a lot of feedback from all kinds of places, right? Could be our sales demos, could be our customer success team, could be our Facebook group, could be from our product roadmap page. And all these pro votes get kind of tallied together. And we have a list of like, look, what are pros really looking for? And inside a House Call Pro, we've got different squads. We've got different product squads. And they focus on different things. And each squad has like a product manager and some engineers and like a designer. And then they go, all right, we're going to go tackle this pro vote. Or this is a part of like, this goal this quarter is to improve scheduling. Let's go look at all the pro votes and what are people asking for that are related to scheduling. So like one that's coming up right now is people want to color code jobs based on zip. And they want to color code jobs based on essentially like tag, like job type. And so what we're building is the ability for, look, right now we have it based upon technicians. So if you look at the calendar, you can go like, oh, okay, Gil's like red, Joey's blue, and you can look at that. But if you want to do by zip, we're building out the ability because a lot of folks are like, look, I want to look at the calendar and just go like, okay, where are my zips? And then I've got like red, yellow, green, right? And so that way I can really go look like, okay, are we booking outside of is my calendar going to be all red? Oh man, that's going to be like a rough day. Or yellow, right? Or green. And so we're building out that ability. It's a perfect example of that's what some of our pros are asking for. And one of our goals is to make scheduling better. And so that way it'll automatically color code it based on zip or color code it based on job type. So if you want to color code your install jobs, your replacement jobs versus your service and demand jobs, right? Versus just estimate calls. And so, you got ability to like see it that way and see that by color. So it makes it a little easier on the folks in the office to be able to quickly, when they're on the phone, look for a hole for the right person, for the right type of call and like where. That's like a good example. But as these things are getting built, we have to get feedback from our pros. So what we do is, we build what we think produces some amount of value, which means like it's not going to be the end product because we don't know what the end product is even going to look like yet, but we've got some kind of idea. So we launch the first version, we put it out there, we give it to our super pros, they're our alpha testers and beta testers. They go, oh, Roland, this is cool, but you forgot about, I don't know, you forgot about trucks. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's add trucks. And then what we do is that goes to beta, and then we do some more testing on it. And then it gets launched to GA, which is a general audience, which means all of our pros. And then once it's out there, we still listen for feedback. It's like, oh, this is working or this isn't, right? And we get that back, so we keep improving it. And so sometimes that squad stays like on that feature forever or kind of on that team forever. And then sometimes they go kind of off to the next one. But, we've got 40, 50 squads at any given time working on different stuff, across the company. And it's based upon the feedback we get from our users and part of our vision too. Like for example, we're working on bill pay right now. So we don't have a lot of pros coming to us saying like, oh man, I got to pay my bills better. But the reality is when we talk to them, we see that they need to have one place where they can centralize paying out their bills. And also the expense cards feature that we have, we see them paying for stuff. And they load up these expense cards and they lock them down to a specific person for a specific dollar amount. So they don't have people spending, cash, and they can never track all those things and their job costing is way off. So kind of those two things kind of come together. Pros haven't really asked us for that. Sure, there's some, and it's not the highest one, but those things all tie in together to the master plan to make sure, like, look, we want reporting to be accurate. In order for reporting to be accurate on job costing, we got to get all the costs of the job. How do you get all the jobs or all the costs for the job? You get all the receipts to line up to that job. So that way you can determine, look, are you profitable on this job? Or are you doing jobs where you're even making money? And a lot of people can't answer that question. So those how those things kind of all weave together. But by and large, it starts with Provost. We put the things that we're looking to build up on our website. So if you go to housecallpro.com/product roadmap, you click a link, you'll be able to see all the things we're working on right now and all the things we recently built. So if you're like, oh man, you guys are building so much stuff. How do I keep track of it? Just go look there. And once you head there, you can talk to us on there. You can leave a vote on there. You can leave a comment. You can rate. Is it like critical, not critical, nice to have, need to have? You can click some of those buttons. And then our product people, they read that and they go, okay, I got to change the way I'm thinking about building that product. That's a pretty long answer. But I feel like, the biggest thing to take away is we have to listen to our customers to make sure the product gets better. And so we've got lots of different input mechanisms for pros to leave us that feedback. But if you ever feel like something's not working or you're like, oh, I wish I could do X or Y, tell us about it. There's a lot of ways to tell us about it. And I promise you at some point, it's going to get built, right? There's going to be other people asking for that same thing. You're not alone. And just keep asking for it. We'll build it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's funny you say about the colors because now we have enough people. We're in that position where you start getting 20 plus. It's hard to have everybody be their own color.
Yeah, because you're running out.
Exactly.
Or they're too similar.
Yeah. It's like, it's like Chris is light blue and Jimmy's dark blue. Like, there's just there's too many. Man, there's something that I wanted to Man, I forgot what I was getting ready. I was getting ready to ask. I had an idea that I wanted to say because I know we're getting at an hour, even though we started a few minutes late. So I don't want to keep you too long.
Okay. All good. Yeah. What else? I feel like 2024, I get asked a lot about like, hey, what's Housecall Pro doing about AI? Where's AI going? Are you guys doing AI? What's going to happen? There's like 6 different things that are going to get launched just around AI this year inside of Housecall Pro. The one that I'm really excited about personally is the ability for pros to ask for reports. So I'll give you a perfect example. You can ask it, how many water heaters did Gil install in January? Right? What's the total value of that? If I had to pay him 10% commission, how much should I pay him? Like, you could do that one of two ways. You could do that, ask our AI, or you can go to a spreadsheet, download the sheet, like sort by a certain line item type,
That's
and then
perfect.
add up all the values and then multiply it by 0.10 and then pay someone out. Or you can just ask our AI. So this one's going to be really neat because it's going to make reporting a whole lot easier, which is really like, you don't really want to build a report. You just are looking to answer a question. So that's one that I'm personally super excited about. There's a whole bunch of other AI that's getting put into both our House Call Pro Assist option, right? That's our call answering solution. That's going to make it so that it's going to be even more affordable for pros to do it. So if they want to have humans answer, or if they want a robot to answer, it's still better than a voicemail. And it's getting scarily good right now. So that's super fun. There's all kinds of other stuff that we're working on just as it relates to our marketing center that's coming out, is ability to send marketing messages to your customer. That's going to be something new getting launched in 2024. If you don't have our chat widget installed on your website, put it on there, because if you put it on there, it's going to show up inside of your House Call Pro messages, and inside of your House Call Pro message box, you'll be able to see all the conversations. So you can convert those to customers. Inside of there is going to be a bot. So there's just like a whole bunch of really cool things coming up this year. I feel like this is the year of AI. You're going to see a whole bunch of automation, a whole bunch of extra help. And if you're not using it, I feel like, and other platforms aren't really adopting it, they're going to start getting left behind.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm the AI. Like I said, I try to use technology, and AI is awesome. So if that comes into you guys, that's even better. I just wrote it down because I almost forgot. And I don't even know if you guys may have this, and I just don't know about it. But this is something that I get asked a lot. Is kind of like a pre-built price book that people can kind of like download and then go through and like change the prices. I know you guys are across like plumbing, HVAC, roofing. Like I know like a lot of people use you. I don't know if that's even feasible or.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we right now, there's a company out there, we resell their price book. If you want to get going with it, it's via Profit Rhino. We resell that data, boom, automatically lines up into your House Call Pro price book. I think it's like $149 a month. And then they update it every quarter. So that way, like as prices change and material pricing change, it doesn't erode your margins. So that's one. And then, we've got a basic price book inside of House Call Pro that helps you just get started off with like categorizing things correctly inside of a price book. You still want to start to build it out. And then also, if you happen to get any kind of price book from a local distributor or from your OEM that you're buying from, or you're like a FAD dealer somewhere, just send us that data. We've got a data imports team, and they can load it up into your price book for you. So there's a couple different ways, and we may or may not be working on kind of our own version of a more expanded list. Because the reality is you don't need 10,000 things in a price book. You'll probably need about, I don't know, at max a couple hundred, and that's going to cover like 95% of your use cases, because
Definitely.
that's what you do. Yeah.
And the problem is, to be honest, is sometimes it's because I went through trying to create one, and it's when you're looking at it, you forget things. It's like
Yeah.
you think you got everything, and then a guy calls you like, "Hey, I got this problem, but I don't see it in the price book." Oh shit. Okay, this is how much it cost. I'll go add it right now. And that's literally what happened for the longest time. But I know that's a question that people have asked, and just so a lot of you know, I know I get emails about House Call Pro asking questions. I am not the greatest with it, so I'm more than happy to answer your questions. But I would, if you use House Call Pro, I would go into the House Call Pro Facebook group. That is going to get you answers, not not for me. Just to be honest with you, not that I don't want to help. I'm just they'll help you better than I will.
Yeah, the House Call Pro Facebook group's great. And there's a whole bunch of folks out there that are really helpful, that really know everything inside and out. And chances are, if you ask them there, you're going to get your questions answered. And if not, just tag me. You'll see you'll see people tag me all the time in the Facebook group, and I can find the right people. And my team will find the right people for you to chat with, who that's their area of expertise.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, I won't keep you. We're getting towards the end. So I know you said the AI. Is there anything else that you can say that might be rolling out, or is the AI is kind of a big deal though?
AI is a big deal. I mean, the recent things rolled out. We now have appointments, so you can do multi-day appointments. It's a brand new feature inside Housecall Pro, so you don't have to do segments anymore. So if you're an existing Housecall Pro user, you're still using segments. Sometimes it's correct to use segments, but go take a look at our appointments feature. You can turn that on in settings. We just released SMS job reminders. So before you could configure an email to get sent out a day before, 2 days before, but now we've got an SMS job reminder. So go set that up because I set up my dentist appointment and I don't ever remember. But then the dentist sends me a text like, "Oh, your appointment." So I'm like, "Oh yeah, crap." So that's like a good feature to turn on. If you've got service plans set up through us, if you're doing service agreements or comfort memberships or whatever you want to call them, it's called service agreements. So many different things. We've got smart scheduling on the service plans. So, I've got a lot of folks right now that are, in shoulder season and they're not doing a lot of heaters if it's not somewhere where it's super cold. And so they want to keep their people busy. So we've got smart scheduling inside of the service plans that'll auto book appointments for you. That's a really cool feature to keep your guys going. We have a brand new online booking V2. If you don't have that set up, you absolutely should, because what it does is if you've ever gone to Google and you Google someone's business and that little right panel shows up, it used to be called Google My Business. Now it's called Google Business Profile. But if you use our online booking V2, you get this snazzy button that says book online. It's this big blue button. If you don't use Housecall Pro, you're not going to get it. There's only one other software vendor right now that has that. But even then, make sure you've got online booking V2 set up. Make sure you've got it on your website. Make sure you've got it in your voicemail to send people, hey, if they don't, if you missed their call and you're not using Housecall Pro Assist, go to your website, book a call. Those will end up. Man, what else do we have? We've got VoIP now on mobile. That thing is freaking awesome. It used to only be on web. Now it's on mobile. If you're looking for a website, we build websites that are fully integrated with all of Housecall Pro's products. So if you got a website and you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't want to build it myself, and I don't want to pay somebody tens of thousands of dollars to build it, there's a new website option. There's payroll, card on file. Do you use that feature, card on file? Do you know you can save card on file? Yep. We got a lot of pros that are like, look, I'm not going to run a service call unless we get your card on file first. And then that way, you get all the tire kickers out, especially when it starts to get busy. Don't do a call for someone if they're not willing to put a card on file for you. That's a pretty badass
Especially
feature.
new customers. And if you are not offering monthly, you should be offering monthly service contracts, and then people that pay yearly. I rather take it monthly, or if they pay yearly, if they have a credit card on file, the fine print that automatically renews on that same date every year. That way you constantly have that income. Club memberships and service contracts are huge, and 99.9% of customers they rather put a credit card on file. Guys will check out and be like, hey, Mr. Smith, today is, I don't know, $546. You want me to just go ahead and use the card on file? Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and put it on that, Gil. And it just makes things simpler. I was writing all the things down you were saying because I want to make sure that we have it all turned on. Just to make sure I'm like, I can't be have them as a sponsor and not know these features that we're not even using them. So I wanted to
just have me on more often, and then we'll keep you updated on all the new stuff, because we're constantly just releasing stuff. And I think that's the hardest part of our job now is like, we're building so many things. It's letting our customers and potential customers, know about all the stuff that we're doing. Because it used to be when we were a smaller team, we could only release so much. And now that we're, so big, we have hundreds and hundreds of developers, just like stuff is just flying out. And we're growing super fast. So if you ever don't know, you can, if you type in like Housecall Pro product roadmap, Google will show you like our product roadmap. We've got a really big kind of release coming up towards the end of this month with some of those things that I mentioned, just as like a recap of all those things. It'll make it easier for you guys to find out about them, so you don't have to write them all down.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And one thing that you said that people may not realize how big it is the multi-estimate approval. Because sometimes, so the way it worked before is if we send a customer, 4 systems and they approve one, it declines the other 3. Okay, that makes sense. But if we're sending somebody options for repairs, or maybe it's, a system and then a water heater, they can approve the two that they want versus having to go out and create a whole separate estimate to be able to send them. It's all attached into one. And that's been huge. We actually had to show the guys how to use it because in the beginning we had a bunch of them that would create one estimate, go out, create a new one, create
Ah,
another one. And I'm like, no, 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 man. Like that's no, like they can all be built into the same one. Even before it could be built in the same one if it was all like, the same systems or whatever. But creating the estimates now has been amazing. We showed our guys it's just build your biggest one, copy it,
yeah.
take some stuff off, copy it, take some, when they're doing their service ones. I'm like, so this we made it simple. We literally had a service meeting. I was like, pull out your phones, pull out your iPads, let's do this together. And that's how it became simple. So yeah, we're past an hour, and I know I could keep talking. But hey, you're more than welcome to come on whenever with these special episodes rolling. So have Amy or whoever reach out, and we can do something like this, once every couple of months or whenever something new comes out, whatever you want to do. Because I think these episodes are good for people to learn these little details. Because I can talk about it, but having these conversations like this, I think are awesome. Because if anybody listens to this after the fact and doesn't have a positive view on Housecall Pro, then I don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, if anybody ever, has any questions, you can always text me or send me an email. My email is just roland@housecallpro.com, and you can text me. It's 858-215-1512. I promise I'll answer you. Maybe not during a meeting, but usually at the end of the day, I try to like go through some of those ones, and try to make sure that everyone knows, like, look, we may be a bigger company, but we care about all of our pros, and our mission is to champion them all to success. And we do that by listening to our customers and building what they need. And if you're interested to learn more, just go in the show notes. Gil's got it down below. He's got a link. He's got a special deal. If you click on that thing, we've got a whole bunch of great folks here on our team that know the product even better than me, inside and out, that can walk you through it, that can show you a live environment so you can kind of feel what that house looks like when all the furniture is in, not just an empty house. You can always start a free trial, but you're going to get the empty house syndrome. So if you want to see the house with like all the furniture in it, just go click on that link, and we're happy to show you. And if you see what you like, sign up and just go month to month.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So I highly suggest if you guys, like I said, if you have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. But like I said before, I'm probably gonna, tell you to go to that Facebook group because it's been huge for us as far as answering questions and people that are like, oh, you do this, this, and this, and it's been just an awesome community of people. So if you're not and you're gonna join, go in there. If you're using House Call Pro and you're not in that group, I highly suggest that you go join that group. It's only going to help you and be able to answer those questions. So, Roland, thank you so much. I'm sorry it's been so long. Like I said, we definitely won't make it this long before you come back on. I appreciate your time. I thank you for what House Call Pro does. And like I said, I'm super stoked about the partnership. I love what you guys are doing, and like I said, all you guys did was prove me wrong, and I'm glad because I'm a man. I like to admit when I'm wrong, and I'm so happy that we're still with House Call Pro, doing all the stuff we're doing because it's been amazing.
We're glad to have you, Gil. And look, if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out direct. Hit that link if you're curious about it. If not, I'll see you in the House Call Pro Facebook group, and just tag me on some stuff. I'm sure we'll run into each other.
Awesome, thank you, boss man. I'm gonna close this show out.
Sounds good. See you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, man. Everybody, like I said, I know some of you are technicians and you don't have the choice to be able to pick what CRM you use. But if you work for a good owner, then they should value your input. So, especially if you are like a smaller company, and I get it. If you're at a big company, sometimes switching over, it's hard. It can be a lot. Having to change it and get people to know what they're doing and teach everybody how to use it. But um, it's worth it. And just tell them, like, hey, boss man, I just saved you a bunch of money by switching to House Call Pro. So now you can give me a raise. See, there you go. I just got you a raise just like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight. I thank you guys for coming here on Tuesday. I know this is not the regularly scheduled program. I will be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again. I'm glad tonight happened because in this area, it's like a monsoon. Power was going in and out. So I'm glad we were able to get through the show. For all of you that have seen the merch, the shirts, let me turn. It just has AHR in the back. I will be giving. I got 200 of these that I'll be, or probably more than that, that I'll be giving away at AHR, as well as all the different hats. Obviously, I save some for certain people, but if I see you at AHR, I'm just gonna be giving them away as a thank you to everybody. If you're not going to AHR, email me. What I'll do is when I get back from AHR, I'll place another big order, and then I will start to, I'll sell the hats to whoever wants them, and I keep them dirt cheap as long as I'm not losing money. I don't do it to make money. I just appreciate people, rocking my gear out there. It's a privilege to have people do that. With that being said, man, I'm gonna close this out. I don't want to keep you guys any longer, and I think my buddy Adrian does a podcast tonight, so I think I was stepping on his toes. My apologies, buddy. This was a special episode, but thank all you guys for coming here live. I hope you come back tomorrow night. With that being said, make sure you follow me on all the social media sites. I got some videos that are going to start to be dropping here soon. I've been slowly putting them out. It's hectic before AHR. I got all my stuff back here, making sure I have it all together, getting it packed, and making sure it's all in one place, different cameras and stuff like that. With that being said, guys, stay safe out there. All right. Remember, keep your head on the swivel. We all have somebody to make it home to. All right. Turn that breaker off. People driving crazy on the road, whatever it is, just please, please be safe out there. All right. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. Keep pushing yourself. I always say that. Be the best version of you. Give back to the industry. I don't care how much you know. Just give a shit. Help the person next to you, man. Just care about them. If you see they're off, ask questions. Just be a good person. Give back to the trade. All right. That's all that I say. And it's amazing when you put out positivity, the world just changed for you. All right. Let that negative stuff go by the wayside. All right. With that being said, man, I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. I thank you guys for supporting me the way you do for all these years. Almost 4.5. I think we're like, I don't know. I think now it's like maybe 150,000 downloads away from breaking 4.5 million, which is absolutely crazy, which is hoping that I'm going to be able to hit 5 million in my 5th year. So we'll see. So thank all you guys and girls who download my podcast, man. I can't believe it. And I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. I hope all of you have a great night, and I'll talk at you mofos tomorrow. All right. See you.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.